Hiya, welcome back. It's almost 12:30. Just finished my gym. Gonna drive home now. So welcome to another episode where I'll talk a little bit about compounding or compound life or something relevant about content for compound life. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about DCA or PCA, dollar cost average or pound cost average. I think first of all, a lot of media are projecting greatness about investing, right? Greatness about maybe a lot about the US stock market are performing, gold price are increasing sharply, silver price are also increasing sharply, and so forth, right? Apart from crypto and apart from Bitcoin, but we'll leave that out for now. I came across similar situation. I think that was about 6 years ago, especially during COVID, right? Because during that time, there were also a lot of media coverage about stock prices going all-time high and so forth, right? During that time, I was still at work, and I've got a lot of money stashed up. So that's why immediately I thought to myself, okay, COVID, you cannot travel. You got heaps of money that stacks up. You don't want to constantly buy stuff that doesn't do much or depreciate or items that you don't really appreciate. So that's why I kind of gone into investing, right? And during that time, I kind of also gone all in, okay? And it's important for you to recognize that if you follow the principle of my compound life, right? That's compounding for the longer term as opposed to short-term trading and short-term investing, okay? And you need to listen up, right? Do not FOMO in. Do not FOMO in buying gold, stocks, or whatsoever, right? Because I felt, and a lot of analysts also felt that it's almost at the peak now, right? And I gone through the same thing last time, 2 cycles away, right? Where I've FOMO in, gone all in with my cash and bought at the top, right? And then all of a sudden the bubble bursts, right? Stocks, shares, crypto, Bitcoin, everything apart from my properties dropped 30-40%, and crypto is a lot more worse. It drops about 70 or 80%. Okay, even for some shit coins or crypto coins, not Bitcoin, it drops to about 90-95%. So that's something to be mindful of. Okay, so this brings us back to the whole topic about dollar cost average, DCA, or pound cost average, PCA. Okay, and I think the next question would be, when do I invest, right? Is it now, or do I wait until the next cycle, right? I think always start soon, always start now, right? That would be my advice, right? But certainly with the money that you have in place, for now, since that we know that maybe the stock market for Bitcoin, it's almost at the all-time high, right? You don't want to go all in, FOMO all in. What you might want to do is, knowing the fact that we may be going through a bear market in the very near future, maybe next year or the year after, right? If you've got a stash of cash right now, what you can do is chop it up and have that decision to say that during the peak of the cycle, maybe I want to invest a certain amount, maybe 10% of my lump sum, right? Or 5% of my lump sum, where I DCA in on a weekly or daily basis, right? So that's something to be mindful of. Let me drive my car. And the reason I'm suggesting to you to get into investment right now is not because I want you guys to become my exit liquidity for stocks and shares or crypto or Bitcoin, right? But I want you guys to get into the habit to know that if I've got a lump sum or if I'm saving to invest, it's important to put money away and achieve that consistency in terms of your investing or saving. So, and follow that through, right? And some might argue that you lump sum in, buy at the bottom is the best way forward, right? But in reality, you can never catch the bottom or catch the top. Okay, that's what I've gone through before, right? So similar, especially for a more volatile asset like Bitcoin. You know, we talk a lot about Bitcoin in the My Compound Life channel. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you guys haven't subscribed, please help me do a like, hit subscribe, where I'll be doing more daily content, right? And that's really helped me to, get into the YouTube side of content creation, because I'm still rather new to all of this. Okay. So coming back to consistency about DCA, right? So if you've got a lump sum, what you might want to do is not go all in, however, chop up your money, make that decision. Certainly, I'm not asking everyone to ape in on Bitcoin or crypto. What you might want to do is maybe whenever you invest, 50% goes into your more stable investments, such as the ETF investment. Another 20 or 30% goes into, I don't know, your properties. Maybe 10-15% goes into Bitcoin, right? And don't get into crypto just yet when you're kind of starting off your investment journey. Really study more about Bitcoin before you get into other crypto investment, okay? You don't want to mess up your money that way, okay? And when I talk about dollar cost average, personally, I'm not a day trader. Of course, I kind of get into the habit of looking at my portfolio through my app on a daily basis. You shouldn't really be doing that, right? If you're kind of a long-term investor. So from that sense, when you're doing DCA, not through lump sum, buy, however, chop up your investment. We are at the peak of the bull market now. Continue to invest a small amount because the likelihood of you wanting to DCA at the bottom, it would be daunting, right? Very likely you'll be looking at the market and then it would be so bearish. Everyone would be talking about very negative sentiment about the market, and that time you might not want to be invested at all, right? So however, from an investment point of view, that would actually be the best time to invest, right? So from that sense, I would encourage everyone to start putting some money, small amount, a small percentage or small fraction of your lump sum, and start to DCA, right? And have a longer investment horizon, right? Very likely you are investing not to get out of this cycle, however, to get out in the next cycle or for the longer term, for your investing for your retirement. Okay, so that's kind of like lump sum pound cost average or dollar cost average suggestion. Another suggestion would be, hey, I don't have a lot of money. I rely on my paychecks. I rely on my monthly salary to invest. And in that case, dependent on how much you receive from your salary, dependent on maybe what you might want to do is to budget a little bit, right? Budget in a way to identify how much are you saving on a monthly basis through your salary, right? What you might want to do is to make sure that once you've got that budget, right, stick with it. And whatever money that you can save, keep that consistent on a monthly basis and put that aside into saving or into your investment account, just so that you can continue your pound cost average or dollar cost average, right? So take for instance, if you can save up to £1,000 a month, $1,000 a month, right? £1,000, let's say £1,000, right? Easily that would be £12,000 a year, right? And it's important that if you can get that money, and what you want to do is to put that into an investment account or crypto exchange or whatever, right? And set up a habit, because a lot of these exchanges nowadays, or some of the stocks and shares investment account, they can invest on a daily basis or on a monthly basis. You can set that up, right? What you want to do is for that to compound for you, right? So this would be done automatically, and you won't have to worry about your portfolio, right? So understand that we might be going through, a bull market now. Maybe you might want to do your DCA if you're relying on your paycheck, a smaller chunk of your salary, right? So take for instance, if you got £1,000, now that we're in bull market, what you might want to do is to consistently invest £200 only, right? And then put the other £800 into a higher cash saving account with higher rate, and be prepared to re-enter the market when the bear market comes, right? Because when you're kind of invested in a lot of these platforms, you can start to monitor whatever the hell is happening with your portfolio, right? And then what you want to do is not to be scared away from market drops, right? And recap, right? A lot of stocks and shares market drop can drop about 20, 30 or 40%, right? A lot of ETF drop maybe 10, 15%. But for crypto, for Bitcoin drop can be quite scary, 50, 60% for some instance, from their all-time high. Any other shit coins or crypto can drop about 70, 80 or 90% and never rebounds, right? So that's why, to be consistent, don't invest on any of the speculative crypto until you've done enough research on Bitcoin first, right? So yes, I think not to be frightened by the market drop. That's very important, and treat that as an opportunity to reaccumulate, right? Because in my compound life, it is about investing for the longer term, right? It's not speculative investment trading. However, it's to invest for your longer term future, so that you guys can all retire early, have time for whatever you like to do, have time for family and so forth, right? It's got a small garage here. It's still a double garage. It's still a small garage, so got a lot of stuff in the garage. So that's why I need to drive very, very slowly when I kind of going back. But anyway, thanks for going through this journey with me. I hope you guys have a good grip of what you might want to do. Don't stop investing, right? Sometimes the market can be quite scary. That's the wrong time to get out, right? But don't overly invest it that you put all of your salary into investing, right? That's not the right thing to do, right? As a rule of thumb, maybe save up to about 2 or 3 months of your salary. Put that away in a higher rate saving account before you get into investing, or before you get into dollar cost average into your ETF, into your favorite stocks and shares, or into Bitcoin, right? And yeah, keep doing it, and keep doing it for a good few years, and you will see the return for sure, right? 1 or 2 years you might not be able to see it. Give it a good 3, 4, or 5 years, you'll be able to see massive return. Okay, so in my portfolio, I've got a good mix of properties, good mix of stocks and shares. I've got ISA, I've got ETF, and my big bag, it's on Bitcoin and crypto, right? And I achieve what I can achieve today. A lot of it is due to the investing of Bitcoin, right? And of course, I started my journey a lot more earlier, about 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I'm seeing the reward, right? And I've done that not through lump sum buying, however, through DCA, dollar cost average. And from that sense, I kind of felt, if I can do it, I'm just an ordinary guy that works for a company, and I've been able to achieve that. I'm sure anyone that follows through can achieve this too, right? So yeah, that's it for dollar cost average for lump sum, or if you're relying on your monthly salary, and just keep doing it. And yeah, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks.